Okay, let's just get right into it. It's that time of year. And if you're like, well, pretty much everyone, you've probably made a promise to yourself to get healthier. But let's be honest, you also know there's a pretty good chance that in a few weeks, that promise might feel like a distant memory. So why is it so incredibly hard to stick with our health and fitness goals? Let's break it all down.
Man, this quote from fitness creator Lena Lifts, it just hits home, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that feeling, that mix of hope and determination, but also that little voice of doubt in the back of your head. It's a feeling so many of us know way too well.
So, Section 1, the annual fitness struggle. This is all about that cycle, right? The cycle of getting super excited, starting strong, and then falling off. But the key thing to get here is that this is not some kind of personal failure.
And here is the most important idea we're going to talk about today. The problem isn't you. It's not a lack of willpower. It's not that you don't want it enough. The problem is the approach itself. We try to use brute force and motivation when what we really need is a system that's built to last and works with our actual messy lives. So let's build that system, starting with the very first pillar.
Let's start with the foundation for everything. Pillar number 1, mastering your mindset. Because, before you even think about lifting a weight or planning a meal, the real work, the hard work, starts right up here, between your ears. Any physical change you want to see is going to be a direct result of a psychological one.
So let me ask you a question. What do you think is more powerful for getting you all the way to your goals? Is it that big, fiery burst of motivation you feel on day one, or is it something else?
The answer, hands down, is habit. See, relying on motivation is one of the biggest traps we all fall into. As trainer Sonata Greca puts it, motivation is just an emotion. It comes and goes. Habit, though, habit is the engine. It's what keeps you going on those days where you just do not feel like it. It's the system that runs quietly in the background, making consistency almost automatic.
So, how in the world do you build that engine? Well, according to Sonata Greca, you start ridiculously small. I'm talking 5 minutes a day. And here's the part that sounds a little weird at first. The goal has nothing to do with results. It's not about burning calories or building muscle. Not yet. The only goal is to keep the promise you made to yourself. Every time you show up for those 5 minutes, you're building self-confidence. You're proving to yourself that you can be consistent. And that trust is the foundation for everything that comes next.
And this brings us to the other huge mindset shift, embracing progress over perfection. So many of us, just like Lena Lifts here says, have this all-or-nothing thing going on. You eat one cookie, and suddenly you think, well, I blew it for today, might as well have the whole box. But one little slip-up does not erase all your hard work. When you start seeing those moments as learning opportunities instead of total failures, that's when you've unlocked long-term success.
Okay, pillar number 2. Let's redefine your movement. This is all about realizing that exercise is so much more than just dragging yourself to the gym for an hour.
I absolutely love this concept from Dr. Fabate. She calls it the time thief principle. So instead of trying to magically find a brand new empty hour in your crazy schedule, you steal little pockets of time from things you're already doing. A friend wants to grab coffee? Suggest a walk and talk instead. Driving to work? Just park a little further away. You see? You're not adding new things to your to-do list, you're just transforming what's already on it.
And it can be even smaller and simpler than that. These viral hacks from Pierre Dilotti are a perfect example. Holding a wall sit while you brush your teeth, doing a few push-ups every time you walk into your room, these things might seem tiny, maybe even a little silly, but what they're doing is rewiring your brain. They're teaching you that movement isn't this big scheduled event, it's just a constant, natural part of your day. And trust me, all those little actions add up big time.
Now, while all movement is good movement, there is one type that pretty much every expert agrees is non-negotiable if you want to live a long, healthy life, and that is strength training. According to Sonata Greca, after we turn 30, we start losing both bone density and muscle mass. Strength training is the single best defense against that. It builds a strong, resilient body that helps prevent injuries as we get older. It's really not just about looking good, it's about living well for decades to come.
All right, pillar 3. Let's wade into the deep end, shall we? We're going to tackle the most confusing, the most controversial, and, let's be real, the most frustrating part of all this, nutrition. We're going to get into the great debate over how fat loss actually works by looking at the two biggest philosophies out there.
So you've basically got two main camps. On one side, you have calories in, calories out, or CCO.
The idea is simple physics, right? If you burn more energy than you eat, your body has to get that energy from somewhere, so it uses your stored fat. Simple. But on the other side, you have the insulin management model. This theory says it's not just about how many calories, but where they come from. It argues that the hormone insulin is like a master switch that tells your body to either store fat or burn it.
So in this corner, you have someone like Dr. Eric Berg. He argues that the whole SICO model is just outdated because it totally ignores our body's complex hormone system. He says that if you just cut calories, but you keep eating a lot of carbs, your insulin stays high, and that literally prevents your body from tapping into its own fat stores. And according to him, that's why so many low-calorie diets just lead to constant hunger and cravings, and eventually, you give up.
But then, in the other corner, you have nutritional scientist Dr. Lane Norton. He makes the case that while hormones definitely matter, you just can't escape the fundamental law of energy balance. He argues that as long as you are in a calorie deficit, your body has to get that energy from somewhere, and that somewhere is your body fat. So from this point of view, the type of food you eat is really secondary to the total amount of energy you take in.
So, after all that, who's actually right? Well, the science points to a surprisingly simple and, I think, really empowering answer. The best diet is the one you can actually stick to. Long-term adherence, just being consistent, is the single biggest predictor of success. So whether it's low-carb, low-fat, whatever, finding what feels good to you and what you can do without being miserable, that's the real key.
And that brings us to the final part, building your sustainable system. This is where we take all three pillars, mindset, movement, and fuel, and we combine them into a personalized plan that's actually built to last a lifetime.
You know how we've all heard it takes 21 days to form a habit? Well, you can kind of throw that number out. Research that Sonata Greca shared suggests it's actually closer to 66 days, on average. Now, why is that number so important? Because it sets a realistic expectation. If you're still struggling after 3 or 4 weeks, you're not failing, you're completely normal. True, lasting change just takes time and patience. This isn't a race.
And at the end of the day, that means we have to stop looking for some kind of perfect plan. Because life isn't perfect, right? You're going to have stressful weeks, you're going to go on vacation, you'll have off days. A perfect plan shatters the moment life happens. But a resilient system, that's different. A resilient system bends without breaking. It allows for slip-ups. It adapts to your life. And it's built on self-compassion, not self-criticism.
And that's really the final thought I want to leave you with. What if we just stopped thinking about health as some finish line, a number on the scale, or a certain look we have to achieve? What if instead, the real goal was just to build a system, a way of moving and eating that not only makes you healthier, but that you actually enjoy living with for the rest of your life?